Thank you, Pat Conroy Literary Center. It is great to be a part of Hilton Head's Coastal Discovery Museum's Family Fun Week. I am proud to read from one of my books. My name is Lisa Anne Cullen. I'm a South Carolina author and illustrator. And today I'm going to read from Three Wild Pigs, a Carolina folktale. This book is published by the University of South Carolina Press and Young Palmetto Books. Three Wild Pigs, a Carolina folktale. On a hot summer morning just off the Carolina coast, three wild pigs cast their shrimp net into the warm Atlantic Ocean. "Harsh winds this morning, wild pigs take warning," Lulu snorted. She pointed at the orange-pink sun rising below distant ominous clouds. Lulu was the brightest pig along the coast and knew the ways of the world. The wind shifted and a gruff whisper moaned over the sea. "Hunker down, wild pigs, hunker down," whispered Hurricane Wolf. "I know what that was, Grandpa Curly," Lulu snorted. She tied her summer hat tight over her pink ears. Grandpa Curly's soft white ears perked high. A shiver ran down to his curly white tail. "He's back! Row us home now!" he snorted. Grandpa Curly was the oldest and wisest pig along the coast and knew the ways of the winds. Pop grabbed the oars and turned the boat toward their island. Gray waves swelled and the sea air thickened with salt and spray. Pop was the strongest pig along the coast and knew the ways of the water. The pigs anchored their boat out deep, tied their shrimp buckets around their soft bellies, and pig paddled toward shore. Crashing waves tumbled all three pigs onto the beach as the salt spray stung their snouts. "Hunker down, wild pigs, hunker down," moaned Hurricane Wolf. His strong gusts blasted the beaches of their island. The pigs ran to Lulu's dune grass hut first. Her flimsy door blew open in the harsh wind. Grandpa Curly snorted, "Come stay with me." "No, this is my home, Grandpa," Lulu snorted. "I'll be Okie Pig Dokie." Grandpa Curly and Pop helped her tie her door shut. Then they dug their hooves into the sand, squinted in the salty sea air, and ran inland as the strong winds pushed them along. Lulu knotted a few loose strands of dune grass along her roofline, buried her full bucket of plump pink shrimp, and braced for the storm. She squealed pig squeaks at the squall. Hurricane Wolf rumbled at Lulu. Wild pig, let me in." His wind swirled through her summer hat and into her soft pink ears. Lulu gnashed her sharp teeth. "No," she snorted, "not by the pink hairs on my chinny chin chin." "Then I will huff, and I will puff, and I will blow your grass house in," howled Hurricane Wolf. From the depths of his cumulonimbus clouds, Hurricane Wolf blew ferocious winds and sharp pelting rain at Lulu's dune grass hut. Lulu's hut collapsed on top of her as the ocean waves washed her home clean off the sand. Lulu pinched her snout shut and rolled in the salty waves of the surging sea. She trembled and tumbled, all tangled in seaweed. Pop and Grandpa Curly ran through the swelling tidal creeks and arrived at Pop's shrub thicket den. A sudden gust of wind peeled open his thicket roof. Grandpa Curly caught it and secured it to the thicket walls with cucumber vines and salt marsh cord grass. Grandpa Curly snorted, "Come stay with me." "No, this is my home, Pa," Pop snorted. "I'll be Okie Pig Dokie." Once inside, Pop was secure. Grandpa Curly ran home with sea-shelled peppered wind at his back. Pop wedged his shrimp bucket under the thicket roots, wrapped his strong arms through the shrub thicket walls, and kept his snout above the rising sea. He squealed hog hollers at the hurricane. Hurricane Wolf rumbled at Pop. Wild pig, let me in." His winds rushed up Pop's rigid back and into his soft brown ears. Pop gnashed his sharp tusks. "No," he snorted, "not by the brown hairs on my chinny chin chin." "Then I will huff, and I will puff, and I will blow your thicket house in," howled Hurricane Wolf. From the depths of his swirling cumulonimbus clouds, Hurricane Wolf blew a ferocious tornado at Pop's shrub thicket den. Pop's den broke apart as the tornado twisted overhead. Pop covered his brown ears and flew up into the vortex of the twister. He spun and spiraled with starfish into the swirling sky. Grandpa Curly battled the wind and sea and arrived at his tall conch castle at the upper beach. Wind-driven sand had buried his underground entrance. Grandpa Curly used his empty shrimp bucket to dig a new tunnel. As fast as he dug, the rain filled the tunnel with heavy, wet sand. The sea waves rose higher and higher, nearing his conch walls. "Grandpa Curly!" Lulu snorted. She tumbled at the front of the storm surge. He reached out his hoof. Lulu grabbed on. They dug together. "Lulu!" Pop snorted. He fell from the sky into the sea. She reached out her hoof. Pop grabbed on. Together, all three pigs dug out a tunnel under the wall of Grandpa Curly's tall conch castle. Once inside, Lulu filled the tunnel with sand to keep the sea water out. The three wild pigs climbed to the highest level of the castle. Together they squealed pig squeaks, hog hollers, and boar bellows at the barrage of wind and rain. Hurricane Wolf rumbled, wild pigs, let me in." His wind swirled in the wild pigs' soft ears. They gnashed their sharp teeth and tusks. "No," they snorted, "not by the hairs on our chinny chin chins." "Then I will huff, and I will puff, and I will blow your conch house in," howled Hurricane Wolf. From the depths of his swirling and twirling clouds, Hurricane Wolf blew his strongest winds. The waves crested and crashed around Grandpa Curly's conch castle. The tornadoes spun into a waterspout, and Hurricane Wolf blew again and again and again as the storm surge flooded the island. "Let me in," he howled. The wild pigs, safe and dry inside the tall conch castle, squealed through the thick walls. "Not by the hairs of our chinny chin chins." Hurricane Wolf blew monstrous gusts of wind, and the conch castle stood strong. He blew and he blew and he blew. He huffed and he puffed and he huffed and puffed. He huffed and puffed so hard he cooled the waters of the sea and could huff or puff no more. Hurricane Wolf sputtered his last breath, closed his treacherous eye, and faded away. The sun poked yellow rays of light through his cumulonimbus clouds. Hurricane Wolf's stinging rain softened as a vibrant rainbow arched over the pigs' island. The sea waters ebbed. The wild pigs emerged as survivors of the storm. Their boat lay broken on the beach. Grandpa Curly grabbed Pop and Lulu's hooves and hugged them both tight. He snorted, "We are Okie Pig Dokie." Hurricane Wolf disappeared, leaving only a soft whisper on a distant wind. "Hunker down, wild pigs. Hunker down." That evening, as stars sparkled along the eastern blue-pink horizon, Lulu pointed her hoof toward the western setting sun. "Hush winds this night, wild pigs' delight," she snorted. Lulu sniffed for her full bucket of plump pink shrimp in the damp dunes. She pig squeaked when she found it just where she had buried it. Grandpa Curly built a conch fire pit, and Pop lit a thicket fire. The wild pigs warmed their ears, snouts, and hooves as the calm night sky sparkled around them. The soft, salty waves rolled over broken seashells while emerging ghost crabs skittered in and out of the surf. "Shrimp, anyone?" Lulu snorted. She filled her bucket with water and boiled the shrimp over the flames. As three wild pigs ate pink shrimp by the sea, Grandpa Curly, Pop, and Lulu drew plans in the sand. Lulu asked for something special. "Grandpa Curly, Pop, can we build my castle out of queen conchs, since the pretty pink inside looks like the setting sun?" They agreed. With that, Lulu snorted 3 times. Wild Pig's Delight. And in the back of the book, you will find Carolina state symbols, and they are illustrated. And the Scotch bonnet was adopted into North Carolina in 1965. The colonial Spanish Mustang was adopted into North Carolina in 2010. The bottlenose dolphin was adopted into South Carolina in 2009. The channel bass, or the red drum, was adopted into North Carolina in 1971. The loggerhead sea turtle was adopted into South Carolina in 1988, and the lettered olive was adopted into South Carolina in 1984. And you'll also see the North Carolina state flag and the South Carolina state flag and maps of North and South Carolina. And it has been an honor to read Three Wild Pigs to you, a Carolina folktale. And again, this book is published by the University of South Carolina Press and Young Palmetto Books. And my name is Lisa Anne Cullen, South Carolina author and illustrator. So again, many, many thanks to the Pat Conroy Literary Center and to Hilton Head's Coastal Discovery Museum's Family Fun Week. Thank you so much for listening.